Thank you for joining me. In this video, we're going to take a look at how we can start out with what seems like a regular bloom technique, and by tilting instead of spinning, come up with a result that's anything but what we typically see. If you're interested in seeing the creation video of how this particular bloom came out to look like this, then you are in the right place, because that's exactly what we're going to be looking at in this video. Thank you for joining me here at my channel, The Morning Pour. My name is Holly. Thanks for joining me here this evening, and this video is part of our regular Tuesday evening premiere train called Choo Chuesdays, where we bring you a treasure full of beautiful art for your viewing pleasure. And in this premiere train is Lori of Lori Houston Art, Camile of Camile Amoy Art, Nate of Nate Bright Art, and myself. So thank you for being here, and if you are here with us at the time of live premieres, we thank you for being here with us during that time, because we love interacting with you in the live chat, and we invite you to definitely always come and participate in that with us whenever you're able to. We love it. It feels like a party to us, and we just really love interacting with you. If you are here after the fact, thank you for being here, and definitely consider leaving us comments, because we still love interacting with you in the description area, or the comment section below, the comment section below within our videos on our channels, and we love interacting with you there too. Regardless of when you come, thank you for being here with us, thank you for participating, thank you for enjoying our content. We love making it for you, and we appreciate your viewership so much. If you are here after the time of premieres, please make sure that you also check out the videos from Lori, Camile, and Nate, and I will have all the links to their videos in the description so that you can find your way there easily. So in this video, I am going to be using very thin fluid paints for this bloom, and I am using paint straight out of the bottle for these outer edges, and I'm brushing that on. And the rest of my paint is actually extremely fluid. And the reason that I am brushing on paint that comes straight out of the bottle onto this outer area here, as you see me brushing on right now, is so that when this extremely thin fluid paint flows over it, that it will actually stay in place a little bit better than if I didn't put that thicker wet paint there to help bind it. If you have extremely fluid paints, and sometimes it just doesn't really end up drying well when it goes over the edge, especially when the edge has a rounded curve to it like this canvas does. It seems to work a little bit better if there's a harder edge. But when the canvas actually has a rounded curve like this, it really can actually thin out in that area and make your painting look as if it's just not quite professional. So by adding this thicker paint onto this area like I'm doing with the brush, as you've seen, helps secure the final outcome. I can't say it's written in 100% stone that you won't still lose part of it, but it does greatly reduce and sometimes completely eliminates that thinning out further after the fact of when you stop tilting out your pour, helping you to have your results stay intact with a much higher percentage of success. So if you haven't tried that yet, and you are typically pouring with very thin paints for at least some of your fluid art stylings, I recommend that you try this technique, because at least in my experience, it has helped a tremendous amount in my final outcome. And I'm getting ready to use the blow dryer on this. When I'm using very thin paints, I really do prefer to blow the paint across the canvas for my flood coat. This is not only true for when I do Dutch pours or bloom pours like I'm doing here, where all of the paints are going to be thin. At least in my case, when I do blooms of the style I'm doing, I also use thin paints. I know that for some blooms you can use thicker paints, but for the effects I'm going for in some of my blooms, I really like to use very thinned out paints, very thin, like for Dutch pouring consistency. But even when I am doing a pour style where I'm going to be actually doing what is going to be the artwork that's left to the visible eye, If I am using a flood coat that is going to be of a thinner consistency, I oftentimes still will blow it across the canvas with a blow dryer because it does it more quickly and it does it very evenly and very smoothly with a little bit of effort. It takes so much less time in my experience, and I find that I end up with less paint just all over the canvas, and I feel like I end up with less wasted paint having fallen off the canvas unnecessarily when I try to tilt that type of flood coat across the canvas. So if you've not tried it within that aspect, I recommend that you give it a try and see if it works that way for you. So here is the initial blowout of the bloom. Of course, that footage was also sped up, and now I'm just going to be mouth blowing out these parts a little bit further, and then we will take it from there after that point. As you can tell, I'm doing this painting in a variety of shades of blue with a little bit of purple. It had actually been my aim for the outcome of this painting to read a little bit more as having a predominance of medium blues, with a little bit more of the light blues also becoming a little bit more apparent. I had actually intended for my very dark blues and my dark purples to have a little bit more of a minor role, giving a little bit of contrast in smaller amounts. It really had been my imagination to have this bloom come out very much with the medium blue tones really coming through prominently. As you can tell, it really did not come out that way. The darker tones really came forth a little bit more than I was anticipating, but I have to say the end result is beautiful, and this painting actually is in a very loving home at this time. I created this painting as well as the one that I showed a couple of weeks ago with the gold and the sapphire, and it was a Dutch pour. I made both of these paintings as possibilities for a wonderful woman who's a friend and who I knew was really in love with fluid art and would really love to have some fluid art in her home. And I'd been promising her that I would make her some paintings. And she told me that she really loves any color, but I really asked her, well, what colors would you really like to see? And at first she was saying, oh, I just love all colors, and I really do believe that, and I understand that because that's how I am. I don't have a specific favorite color. I love all kinds of colors, and it kind of depends on the application, and that's how she is too. But then she said, well, I would love to see some in blues and maybe with some purples in it. So I wanted to create two paintings to give her two options. I didn't know if she might like one more than the other, or if she wouldn't even like either, and maybe I'd be starting again. It actually turned out that she loved both and couldn't choose, so it ended up that both are in her home. And I could not be more pleased about that because, you know, I do a lot of paintings, as I'm sure you can tell. I can't keep them all, and it makes me so happy. It makes my heart feel so filled with joy to find them a loving home where people will truly appreciate them and admire them. And that is certainly the case of this painting here. It has found a beautiful, loving home, as well as the other painting that I showed a couple of weeks ago with the gold and the blues in that beautiful ocean sapphire gold Dutch pour theme. And I wanted to let you know that a little bit later in July, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, Donna of It's Art by Donna M is putting on a collaboration at Christmas in July. We love the Christmas in July theme. Donna did this theme last year. I was part of it last year. I had a whole boatload of fun. And although I don't remember how many artists were in it last year, but this year there's, I think, 25 artists in it. It's really amazing, and it's a crossover collaboration. So you'll see a wide array of different art styles from different artists, and it's going to be really fun. I love Christmas. A lot of people love Christmas, but I have an especially fond outlook on Christmas in July because I also like beaches and that warm tropical kind of weather, and I think it's just a really fun contrast. I love the whole idea of meshing the beautiful magical spirit of Christmas with the summer fun beach vibe of July. At least that's my take on it. I understand in Australia it's winter time in July, and so, you know, it's nice for them to be able to celebrate Christmas in July if they choose to do it then, because they can enjoy it in that wintry theme like we're used to in you know, just this portion of the world where we experience Christmas with the wintry weather in December. But of course, some regions of the world do not, and it's my understanding that that's how Christmas in July was created. But regardless of which weather pattern you like to think of it in, It's a fun theme. I absolutely love it. And for me, it's really the most fun to celebrate that theme within that tropical vibe. And that's what I'll be doing. And I'm really looking forward to sharing my presentation with you. But I'm also extremely excited myself as a viewer to see what all of the other artists are going to present, because it's always so fun in these bigger collaborations like this, just seeing what each artist comes through with their interpretation on one singular theme. I really love that aspect of being in a collaboration. So I'm sure you'll love it too. Now, coming back to this painting, what I'm doing here is I'm just tilting very gently and in little short spurts, a little at a time, to just make fine adjustments to this composition. And I love how all these lines are starting to make swooshing movements over toward this central area where you've got that whiter spot down in the center, and then up above it you've got that darker spot. What I'm not liking so far is right up above that, it looks like there's a manly part coming through that otherwise white, what do you call that, negative space up there. I feel if it was blown open a little bit, that might look like a flower petal, and I might like that more of it. I just feel like it's just right there, right in your face, right in the middle, and with that nice white background as a contrast. To me, it just looks a little bit like I might be looking at the appendage of the man's private parts, which is totally an awesome, fun theme at times, but not on my painting. And I certainly don't want someone who might be hanging this on their wall to be having visitors coming over and just maybe having that flash into their mind as well. So as I'm making some other fine adjustments here, I'm doing a few Bloembellishments here, as you'll see. Now, Bloembellishing is a word that Lance Travis made up recently, and I really like that word, and a lot of us artists do like it, and so we've adopted it. I was not going to Bloembellish because I really love the organic elements within this painting, and I would have liked it to stay 100% organic in that way. But the reason I did do it here is because in that central portion, the white and that dark blue was just a little too solid, and I didn't really like that within how broken up everywhere else was. So I felt that the Bloembellishing was a good way to go. Now there, I decided to blow out that phallic looking type shape up there, and I didn't totally love how that came out, so I was coming back in with a little bit more white paint that I used for the base, and just kind of blowing that out a little bit more to try and get it a little bit more wispy, a little bit more organically blended into what is there around it. So I'm still working that out, as you can see. But you know what, it's one thing I really learned from Rinska Dauna is, you know, modify until you like something, and don't put up with it until you do. And if it ends up where you've got too much paint down on the surface below you and you just can't do anymore, then fine, call it a loss. But until then, keep working it until you either like it or you're tossing it. That's my motto. So here we are with some close-up shots. Look at the subtle textures. Look at this. Look at how much texture is in this. I absolutely am blown away. I completely love this. Tell me what you think of it. And I love that area now right there. Like, I love how that blends in and how it's really wispy like the rest of this. I love the wispy outcome. I love how it looks so light and airy, even though there are a lot of dark blues within it, which doesn't, at least to me, come across as light and airy. But then I love how on those outer edges it really does go into a whispery, almost like a breath of breeze blew across the canvas. At least that's how it seems to me. I'd love to hear your take on that. So these are the incredible close-up views. Can you believe this? Look at these pretty colors. Look at these pretty textures. Oh my gosh, look at that. I love it. Let me know what you think. And just up ahead, we will be taking a look at the displayed results. I'd love to hear your opinion on which orientation you like the best. This is orientation 1. This is orientation 2. This is orientation 3. And orientation 4. Which one do you think looks best? Let me know in the comments below, if you will, because I'd love to tally up the number. I'd appreciate knowing what the overall consensus is. And remember, my friends, please be sure to visit the other artists in this collaboration train. All of the information is below, or if you're here with us live, it will be in the chat box as to where we're going next. Thanks for being here. See you around my channel soon.